Well, because the Nasheed itself is a very specific Nasheed, which is calling for the unaliving of Shia Muslims. I'm of the opinion that Islam didn't know what the sound said.
I have a bigger critique, which is the approach that Sayyid Hussein took. I just don't understand how he thought that was effective.
What's going on, guys? Salam. Welcome to episode 72 of the Thoughtful Banter podcast. I'm your host, Matthew, with my co-host, Hussein.
Yes, sir.
And today we got some drama in the Muslim Ummah. So let's get right into it. But first, Hussein, what are we doing?
Let me take a selfie.
That hurt. shout out to the patrons. God, killing me of cringe today. Alhamdulillah. That hurt. Are you in pain too, Asia?
Patrons are going to be on the screen.
Patrons on the screen. So this is actually all pretty funny. I'm going to just explain what happened without saying a person try to do something, right? Because I think that's not fair. So what happened is Islam Makhachev,
Makhachev,
USC GOAT, Khabib clone, the GOAT, right? He posted, like a flick of him and his boys in Mecca, right? And like that's like a dope thing, right? Like that's a normal picture to post. Instagram has a feature now where for pictures you can post sounds with them as well. So not just for reels, but for pictures. And it's really common to just when I do this for thoughtful banter on myself, right? When I'm trying to post something and I want like an Islamic sound, I just search up Nasheed, right? So he posted a picture. He obviously wanted a sound, so he searched up Nasheed, and it's called Nasheed.
The song is called Nasheed.
Sunnah Nasheed. Beautiful thing. Sunnah Nasheed. Alhamdulillah, right? So he posted it, and there's a lot of backlash. Why? Well, because the Nasheed itself is a very specific Nasheed, which is calling for the unaliving of Shia Muslims. I'm actually going to play a snippet of it right now. Saying if you can actually break down what it's saying, that'd be great.
I'm not gonna break it down line by line. Just the understanding of the Nasheed is that it's celebrating and calling for and encouraging the. Am I allowed to say the word? Like you said,
no. Say unaliving. Yeah.
Okay, unaliving of Shia Muslims, and like in a very specific manner, with the body part having to do with the body part of theirs. So it just it just sounds like especially if you don't understand what's actually being said, just like, oh, nice, like sounding Arabic Nasheed in the background, like it must be Islamic. Basically, I think that's kind of what most people were thinking. Even myself, I didn't even register what was being said. I just like blocked it out as background noise until I looked at the comments and I was like, oh wait, hold on, what is actually being said here? And then you can actually hear the Arabic, like what it's talking about. So yeah, continue, Matt.
So no, it's a great point because it's like it doesn't like you don't know Arabic, right? It just sounds like a beautiful Nasheed, and it's like it sounds good. Like it doesn't sound like a violent Nasheed of any. It doesn't sound like a war Nasheed. It sounds like something like a lullaby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Put the kid to bed. So obviously we have like Shias are kind of more prevalent now in the social media times. We have people who are of the Shia sect who have like large followings online. So one of those people being Hussein Mecki, he made a video calling it out. Should I play the whole video?
Don't play the whole video. But not only did he make a video calling it out in the comment section of that post, like he's one of the like top comments.
Oh yeah.
And what he puts is the dua that we say on Eid al-Qadir, which is like Alhamdulillah alladhi ja'alana min al-mutamassikina bi wilayati al-amir al-mu'minin. Like praise God, the one who made us the holders onto of the walaya of Imam Ali. That's basically what the dua is saying.
Right.
He puts that in the comments, like just in Arabic. Like that's the only thing he puts. And it's like one of the top comments that's being responded to. And yeah, so basically that's what we're talking about. And then besides him, there's just like pictures of people like posting the image, like the painting of
the GIF of
Qadir, basically.
I just now thought of this, like some interesting thoughts. I'm not trying to go like on our own people. Like we love Hussein Mecki say it.
Yeah.
So we love Hussein Mecki, obviously nothing against him. but a thought of mine just kind of came across because I remember he was making videos about like Sunni Shia unity beforehand. He was talking about, what's the word? He was talking about how sectarianism is like a cancer, I think. Like how to respond to sectarianism. So it's like, on one hand, maybe we might critique the response he had, right? Because like, how effective is it just to say, like just to respond to the comments like, Alhamdulillah, Shia, basically, right? It's like, and I think it's funny, right? Because it's like, I'm of the opinion that Islam didn't know what the sound said. We'll get back to this episode, but first I want to tell you guys about Patreon. For just $5 a month, you can be part of a loyal group of supporters who keep this podcast running. The money we get from Patreon allows us to buy camera equipment, buy microphone equipment, and allows us to keep doing this podcast. For joining our Patreon, you get access to exclusive content that only gets shown there. If you want to know more, click the link down below or visit patreon.com/thoughtful banter. And back to this episode. I have no evidence for that, but I have no evidence that he did know.
I mean, first of all, do you think he manages his own account? Number one.
I think he does. I think these guys do.
It.
I mean, I don't.
Highly doubt
no, I'm sure
Habib
he has admins.
Touch his account.
Habib is different. Habib is like a different breed of like discipline and like Habib stays with that stuff for a reason. But I'm sure Islam just be like, but as it make a picture.
Maybe he posted it, but he will after he posts. Like, do you think he's like monitoring?
No.
Like, absolutely not.
He's not monitoring. He's not gonna.
That's not what's happening.
He's got admins.
Number one, if you click on that Nasheed, that's available on Instagram, there are like plenty of posts with it. Some of them are sectarian and clearly know what the thing is talking about, but most of them are just like training footage or like music over something. I'm sure plenty of Shia themselves have used this and have had no idea what it's actually talking about.
I mean, I don't know Arabic, and most people honestly don't know Arabic.
Yeah.
So it just sounds
there were
hard.
Plenty of people I knew who liked the post, like before, like all the controversy.
I think I liked the post.
who liked the post just because they had no idea like what it's even talking about.
So it's like I think we should be a little kinder to Islam in the sense of like I wouldn't assume worse of him. At the same time, we need to acknowledge these brothers, like they're definitely part of the ummah, but like these brothers are cut from different cloth. You know, like this is gonna sound crazy. Maybe I get canceled for this, but if I had some white relatives who live like in deep Kentucky, I don't know, think of somewhere racist. What's like a really racist state?
Who cares? Just continue. We get the point.
like a really racist state, like I don't know, Kentucky, for instance. I don't know if it is.
Just
I'm not going to assume.
Anyways, continue.
I don't know anyone in Kentucky, so that's fair. Is it fair to assume that these white people who live in Kentucky love black people? Maybe you should assume that, like, I'm just saying, like, if I see some Confederate flag somewhere,
you're not going to be surprised.
I'm not going to be surprised. Uh-huh. And, like, yeah, these guys are, like, Russian Dagestani Muslims. Yeah. And, like, they you could tell by, like, the way they have their beards and, like, the things that they say. Like, you can tell, like, their beliefs and, like, the kind of,
and we have it on good authority that they actually probably don't care for Shias particularly that much.
Right.
Just from people we know that have interacted with them. But none of them are dumb enough to put that, like, make that public.
Right.
You know, none of them are dumb enough to make that public. And we know this. Like, we know this. I'm not saying everyone knows this, but so that's one thing. Two, I have a bigger critique, which is the approach that Sayyid Hussein took. I just don't understand how he thought that was effective. And so he makes the video and then he posts the video and then he's like, you know, he posts the post that Islam made and he's like, you know, this is anti-Shia. He needs to take it down if it was a mistake. Like, if it was a mistake, he needs to take it down. And if it wasn't a mistake, then this is unacceptable and Shia's blood will be spilled for free. And he just kept saying this, like, Shia's blood isn't for free. Shia's blood isn't for free. Like, I'm going to talk. And imagine if this was LGBT or against minorities, it would be taken down. The UFC would have nothing. Like, they would make sure this was taken down. And then I'm just like, okay, clearly Sayyid said you don't really watch the UFC.
Yeah, because that's not true at all.
That's not true.
UFC fighters post whatever they want to post. They're so free speech, bro. Like, Dana White does not care, bro.
First of all, Sean Strickland will say things in English.
Bro,
about women.
Not just that. He promotes a fight through bigotry.
Exactly.
You think the UFC
about
cares?
women?
Yeah.
About LGBT?
About immigrants? Muslims, brown people. Like, it just goes.
Like, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
In UFC organized and paid for events, as in like press conferences and interviews and stuff like that. He has like no problem saying this
So
stuff.
what do you think Hussein
and the UFC
should have done?
never comes down on
Right.
this stuff. So one is just like a disconnect from like what actually is the reality of how the UFC functions. Like he doesn't know what he's talking about, respectfully. Two, it's like you think you sitting in the comments and saying Alhamdulillah alladhi ja'alana min al-mutamassikina bi walayati al-amir al-mu'minin is actually changing anyone's mind about you. In fact, before the post was deleted, all you saw were Sunnis just going back and forth with him, attacking him, and then every now and then Shia would jump and be like, "Yay, go King!"
So yeah, that's fair. So it's like he there's an opportunity for a dialogue, and I think it was missed. And I think it's specifically sad because again, like I was just saying, Hussein Mecki has talked about before how sectarianism is a problem. What do you think he should have done?
I don't even know if an opportunity for dialogue was missed. But what I do know is that people who were either pro that Nasheed or sympathetic to that Nasheed, all his stuff did was rile them up more.
Yeah.
So like, cause like, and we're gonna get to this, but Sheikh Mahdi Rastani makes a tweet and he says, if you want to pull it up and read it.
I actually have it right here. So Sheikh Mahdi Rastani tweeted, "Unfortunately, there will always be people who have animosity towards Shias. But if this really bothers you, there are those who slander the Shia faith. Instead of commenting Ya Ali, maybe commit to gaining more knowledge so you can positively impact and educate those who are open to discussion." So a great point.
What I wanted to say on that is the people who are sympathetic to that Nasheed, agree with that Nasheed, these are not people that are open to those conversations. These are not people that like are actually trying to have their mind change. And you saying, Ya Ali, oh, thank God that I'm one of the holders onto the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, does nothing but fuel their animosity for you.
Yeah, it's just helping yourself.
Yeah, so
It's for yourself.
the tweet says there are always going to be people like this, and not just about Shias, about anything. About literally anything or any group of people you can think of, there will be a group of people who have an opinion about them that is basically going to be impossible to change. And what's definitely not going to change their opinion and probably just going to rile them up more and make them more adamant about the position is you proudly proclaiming what they hate.
Yeah, I think one thing that Hussein Mecki could have done was it would have been interesting to at least leave a comment breaking down what the song's actually saying and how this is offensive to Shias and Shias are part of the Ummah. Like that would have been better than him just saying, "I'm happy to be Shia then."
Yeah.
Because also and we talked about this before, dude, the average Sunni doesn't even know about Shia hate. And when they see it, on the rare chances that it's like out in your face and open and it shows itself around the corner, they're like, "Oh, what is this? That's haram." That's the average. I swear, that's the average Sunni.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, Shias are brothers. They're different, but I don't want to kill them."
Yeah, and then it's like, also it seems like a misplaced anger.
Yeah.
Because instead of coming after the UFC and Islam Makhachev, it should be like, okay, Meta, why have you allowed this Nasheed that talks about this kind of stuff to be on your platform? And then that can actually, change. Like you have a higher likelihood of getting Meta to take off a Nasheed that's calling for the killing of people than changing Islam Makhachev's or anyone in his comment section who agrees with that Nasheed's opinions by saying you're glad to be a follower of Imam Ali. Like it just seems so silly. Like
Yeah, I think
so silly.
It's definitely productive to just bring in Meta, just to say like this is hate speech. This Nasheed, it's literally calling for the killing of people and the unaliving of people and like the chopping off of part of the person.
Yeah.
That their brain has.
That houses their brain.
Houses their brain.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think, looking back, I think Sayyid Hussein was probably upset, which is understandable, but I think what it could have been more productive for him as well to do just like calling out what the Nasheed is actually saying, like literally, I think would be enough to even make Islam's followers be like, what? Because again, most people don't even know like that's a thing. And like,
yeah, like
maybe calling
majority
attention
of his followers are Russian. They're not like Arabic speakers
or Muslims, but like also like I think it'll be educate. I think where you can maybe make discussion is you can just educate our brothers and be like, hey, you know, this is an Islamic Nasheed. This is a Nasheed made by Muslims. Why? Like, why have y'all made this? Not y'all, but like, why is this a Nasheed in existence? People always want to talk about Shia hate being a figment of the imagination, or talk about like it's not a big deal. That there's literally a Nasheed that's praising the unaliving of Shias. You know, so it's like, why is this even in existence? You know, maybe we can like dig that up a bit. You know, I think that could have been more educational than been like, I'm Shia, flex.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of all I have to say. All I have to say on it. I don't know if you have anything else.
No, I mean, besides that, Nasheed is catchy. You know, I can't
that's
lie.
Like, he said that the best part of his videos at the end was like, "Why are all these just bangers? Like, why are these?
Why they go so hard?
Why they go so hard?" He said, "It's been in my head all day." That was probably the best part of the video, honestly.
So again, like we're fans of Sayyid Hussein Mecki. We're Shia. You know, we actually love to have him on the podcast one day, inshallah.
Inshallah.
I do think. And like, listen, no one's perfect. We've made terrible clips. We've made more mistakes than him, definitely, because there's two of us. There's me and you to double the mistakes. And we're definitely less knowledgeable than him, and definitely are doing less for them than him. Mashallah, he's very active. So this isn't to like hate or to come from the perspective of we're better than them. But this is just like brothers' criticism. And the only reason this is, again, being said online is because our brother's online and we're online. So we're adding commentary to the space. I think, inshallah, maybe a lesson learned from this is to not be so ready to jump on, like, the mess up. Like kind of like a cancel culture kind of feel. Like, oh, look, anti-Shia sentiment. Oh, I have to be the first to respond. I have to be the first to make my followers aware, because it's like it's weird we're in the social media space because like everything's a time for engagement, everything's a time for growth and attention. Maybe we could just slow it down,
and it becomes this like vicious feedback loop, right?
And maybe if he could have slowed down his response, I think it could have been more productive. Because you know, again, like we know his takes about sectarianism. He's very pro like unity. I'm kind of I feel like he really missed the opportunity. And I know I'm not saying like, oh, for Islam. Like I'm not expecting Islam Makhachev to come on like his Instagram and like them do a collaboration, right? But it's just it's just the outreach, you know. Like even though like Islam has a couple million followers or whatever, but Hussein Mecki has over 100,000. That's a lot, you know. So there definitely could have been more of an impact there. I know he knows this, but just as a reminder, like there's a lot of responsibility with that, and especially like he's a scholar, he wears a turban. He doesn't wear the turban, but he's a scholar. So maybe next time, if the response could have been maybe slowed down, I think it could have been more productive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was pretty much a perfect wrap.
No, I don't want to say it all for you.
Bow tie. Sayyid Hussein is, you know, human like all of us, and sometimes it's easy for us to get trapped in like the cycle and the vicious cycle sometimes of social media. I think sometimes just the best thing to do in those sort of situations is honestly just step away, take some time away, and he does a lot of good. And I'm not saying you necessarily pause any of that, but maybe just like maybe have someone else moderate your account or something. I don't know. These are just like tips to kind of avoid being in this like vicious loop. And as people who are online and as people who create content, obviously we can relate, not to the same extent. He has way more followers than us, but we can relate to the vicious feedback loop. You know, we make an Andrew Tate clip and there's a whole bunch of people in the comments.
I was about to say, like, you could probably, I mean, I think we've deleted our terrible comments, but like I have responded terribly in the comment section before, like on some yo mama level, right? Like when we the first Andrew Tate clip, that was like the first viral moment we had.
Exactly.
Got like 30,000 views or something, like on Instagram.
40,000, something like that.
But like we were stuck between like a couple hundred.
Yeah.
Just 100, not 100,000, just a couple hundred. And then it was like 30,000 views like that, and like all the Andrew Tate fans were coming, and I was like, they're calling us broke, and they're calling me fat, and they were just making fun of you for glasses or something, and I was like upset.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, mama fat, like, obviously looking back, I shouldn't have said that.
Of course.
And we're like, your mom was like, look at the comments, like, yo, this is such a bad look, because it's like the reminder is like, we're Muslim. Unfortunately, it feels like unfortunately, but we have to be better.
Mm-hmm.
We're not always allowed to stoop as low as our enemies. So,
yeah.
I feel like a little good runny poo. I hope you want to keep it running, but we have nothing else to talk about.
I mean, I have more to say.
Actually, I do want to, but Islam has now deleted the post.
Yeah.
Which is another point to say, like, I like to try to assume the best of people unless I have reason not to. Not like you Andrew Tate fans who are like, he's still Muslim. He's been studying Islam for over a year now. He's still shirtless, and but no, he's still Muslim. Okay, bro. But no, like, Islam's deleted the post, and again, like, I really think like it makes sense. I probably would have. I may have used that post like that sound before. Like, again, like, I don't know Arabic. I'm sure Islam wasn't listening, like, or his admin. So, I like to assume the best of my brother, and he might not love Shias, but I don't think he has that much animosity that he's actually thinking like, man, we going alive in them Shias. Now, if he's fighting a Shia in the UFC ring, would that maybe give him a little bit more of a spark? I don't know.
Hey, he has a Shia in his division, bro. Rafael Fiziev.
Try to have him on the pod, inshallah.
Inshallah,
bro. He speaks English, right?
He speaks decent English, yeah. They're I mean, like, sometimes, like, I don't know if when you speak another language sometimes, like, and you don't have the same vocabulary, sometimes you get stuck trying to explain a concept using higher vocabulary that you have in your language that you can't kind of formulate with that same level of vocabulary. So sometimes he runs into stuff like that, but he has enough to get by.
Right. Enough to be on the pod, do you think?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. And a lot of times he brings people for translation with him, too. So.
And he's in phenomenal shape. Also, that last fight, I have, like, my phone background picture for a while was like him after that Justin Gaethje fight.
He should have won that fight, but
yeah, bro. He pulled off like a phenomenal performance in that fight.
No, that was a great performance from both.
Amazing.
Of them, from both of them. But I think Rafael won that fight.
He's a dog, bro. MashaAllah. Yeah. So Rafael, brother, if you're watching, assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, hop on the pod someday. We'd love to have you. Let us know how we can make it possible.
Yeah.
You can let us know maybe about your experience like being Shia and like in division. Letting us know what that's like.
How that even happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the country he's from is not super populated with Shia.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure it's actually like that is a realistic scenario of like looking at like what the what people think. Like I'm sure he's experienced forms of bigotry because of his belief. So I'm sure he has a lot he's been through. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching this episode of the Thoughtful Banter podcast. It's been amazing. 1,600 subs right now.
And counting.
Over 500,000 views.
Yeah. Episode was short and sweet, but I hope
the
topic was deep enough for you guys to kind of enjoy. And hear our opinions. Maybe you disagree. Tell us in the comments. We always love when you interact with our content.
Right.
Yeah, this has been Thoughtful Banter. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We out.
Yes, sir.
Peace.